Affairs Committee. Welcome, Congressman.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, to Jim's point about, look, he's rallied the world. No, if anything, he's rallied two political parties, including Senator Bob Menendez, to say, do more. Where are the crippling sanctions?
Yeah, and the sanctions should have been in place a long time ago. And you got to really kind of go back a long time to like 2014 when Russia violated that Budapest agreement. That's when the sanctions should have been put in place. But we had Obama, Biden in office, and we're unwilling to go against Russia. And then you go to Afghanistan, and all of our enemies across the world have seen the debacle in Afghanistan and leaving our service members there and leaving American citizens. As we still sit here today talking, we still have citizens left in Afghanistan. And so that was the showcase to the world of his weakness. And then you have the Ukraine. The moment the Russians started to build up troops on the border is when he should have started putting in very tough sanctions, not just on the Russian country, but on Putin himself.
We'll get more into this sort of geopolitical strategic side of it, but just inside, as a vet yourself, you watched what the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people are attempting to do right now,
yes,
which is effectively alone hold off the Red Army. And the pictures that are emerging of Zelensky, in his body armor on the street with his people, I mean, that's pretty motivating stuff.
Well, and that's true leadership, and that's gonna motivate not only your soldiers that are fighting for you, but the citizens of your country to stand up. If that's your leader who's putting on body armor and going out there and commanding troops on the ground, and you see the citizens rising up and these soldiers rising up against insurmountable odds and equipment. I mean, you guys have shown all the different numbers of how many helicopters the Russians have and how many helicopters that the Ukrainians have, and to be able to fight back against that, I want to do whatever we can to encourage them. I know we can't kinetically get involved right now, but sending them the equipment that they need, like javelins and other things to defend themselves. But I want to say to the Ukrainians, we have a large Ukrainian population in my district, to encourage them to continue to fight for their freedom.
Yeah, Congressman, I won't ask you to read the tea leaves in the mind of Vladimir Putin, but you mentioned Afghanistan, and to me, as you noted, I think dictators across the world looked at that moment, saw American weakness, and altered their calculus in some way, shape, or form. Is it conceivable that Afghanistan could have been a turning point in Putin's mind? Hey, maybe now's the time for me.
It was absolutely a turning point, and he saw exactly how this administration was going to operate, and we all know that if Trump was still president, none of this would be happening because of the strength that he perceived through our country and our military, and building up our military and allowing them the ability to do those things. During the entire 4 years, the Taliban didn't attack our people because they knew there would be ramifications for those type of things. And so now that is withdrawn and American greatness has withdrawn, of course they see an opportunity and weakness to attack, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to pivot back to here and the opportunities that Republicans have in 22. And Kayleigh, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to play a little game today and tomorrow. I forgot to play it yesterday. I'm going to ask every member of Congress that comes on the program what their three priorities are for 2022, and see if Republicans have the same priorities if you're all over.
Fascinating.
So I already asked Jim Jordan that question. What if you have the majority in 22, what are the top three things you think Republicans
Number one, without a question, immigration. Shutting down the border and protecting the sovereignty of our country and protecting the law of the land. I mean, as we sit here, we've had over 1.7 million illegals flood across the border. And there's an interesting statistic that not a lot of people are talking about. The leading cause of death for people between the age of 18 and 45, it's not COVID, it's fentanyl. And fentanyl is coming across the border. So the things that are happening of the border, not just affecting the illegal immigration of people that are coming in, but it's affecting the lives of everyday Americans. It's affecting the safety and security of Americans. So that, by far, number one, needs to be what we do when we take the House. Number two needs to be holding the Biden administration accountable from a financial perspective. The House holds the purse strings. We determine where the money goes. And you could put 2 or 3 sentence writers on every single one of those bills and tell them how they can and cannot spend their money. For example, in Homeland Security, not a dollar of these funds shall be used to allow an illegal immigrant to come into our country. You can do that in every single bucket of money that we appropriate as a member, as Congress, to give the administration their money to function. So I think that absolutely needs to be done as well. And then we need to do what we can for our veterans. I have a bill that McCarthy has already put into our version of our Contract for America. We build on what Trump did with the Mission Act, and we build on that and give veterans true choice.
I love
we allow them to decide for themselves, hey, you're service-connected disabled, You want to go to the VA, you can do that, but we're going to give you true choice. We're going to give you TRICARE and TRICARE for life to go anywhere you want to go to get the medical that you need when you need it. And I would submit to you that we would see the veteran suicide per day plummet because those guys that call the VA aren't going to get hung up on anymore, aren't going to have to wait 30 or 60 days to get treatment. They can go right there in their communities to a mental health professional when they need it and get the treatment they deserve.
Our veterans are the best among us.
Yeah,
you two
I love
included.
that you're all over that because the Choice Act was so important and it's being snuffed out in many ways right now. They're using COVID as a rationale, and the Democrats are basically trying to squeeze it off.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Some overlap there. I heard some overlap.
I did too.
Definitely on the border. Jim Jordan also mentioned Section 230.
Yeah, I have a bill on that.
And then also, what was his other one? I should remember these
I
things.
should too.
Investigating the China virus.
Investigating, yes.
Where that's coming.
100%.
I think you guys agree
Yeah.
on that too. Interesting.
That's right. Thank you,
thanks so
Congressman.
much.
Yeah, thanks
Great
for
to see
having
you.
me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to join you.